today I'm going to be walking you through how I was able to create an Airtable database for Future Leaders Learning Hub. Going to show you how I centralize student data, manage class assignments, and track student enrollment data. So for this project, I have four tables. We have the student table, the classes table, the subjects table, and the student subjects table. So for the students table, we have the student's ID, the first name, the last name, and the full name. So how did I get the full name? I combined the first name and the last name, and then I used the formula fields to get the full name. We have the gender, the age, the score, the class. So this class field is linked to the classes table. We have the pass and the fail. So for the pass and the fail, I use the formula column to determine whether a student pass or fail. So let's see the formula. I said if the score is greater than 75%, it's a pass. If it's otherwise, it's a fail. So that was how I achieved this. So we have the date of birth field. For the date of birth field, I used the formula column and I used the age to generate the date of birth field using the formula column. So we have the enrollment. For the enrollment, I linked this enrollment to the student subjects table. And then lastly, we have the number of enrollments. I used the count field to get the number of enrollment. So for the second table, which is the classes table. So for the classes table, we have the class ID, the class teacher, the number of students, and then I also have another number of student fields. I use the roll up to get the number of students to be sure it matches the original number of students, which is this one here. And then we have the average student score. So for the average student score, I use the roll up to get the average student score. And we have the student fields. This student field is linked to the student subject table. And then lastly, we have the student score. I use the lookup to get each of the student score from the student table. Now let's move to the third table, which is the subject table. So for the subject table, we have the subject ID, the subject name, the teacher, the enrollment. This enrollment is linked to the student subject table. I have the number of students. So for the number of students, I use the count to get the number of students enrolled. And then lastly, we have the name of students enrolled in each subject. So for this, I use the lookup to get the name of students enrolled in this subject. So now let's move to the last table, which is the student subject table. So for the student subject table, we have the combo ID, the student, and the subject. So how did I get this combo ID? I combined the student and the subject, and I used the formula to get the combo ID. So for this student field, it's linked to the student table, and the subject field is also linked to the subject table. So we have the full name. So for the full name, I use the lookup to get the full name from the student table. We have the subject name. For the subject name, this is the multi-select field. And then for the teacher, it's a single select field. So that is it about this project. Thank you.